Well, hello, everyone. It is an awesome time for us to be together again today. Such an amazing opportunity for us to be together here on the Kingdompreneur Moment Live Show. I am your host, Doreen Lettsome Reid, international Kingdompreneur coach and builder of Confident Woman Incubator. I want to also welcome our Confident Woman Incubator podcast listeners today that are listening from around the world. We appreciate all our Confident Woman Incubator podcast listeners. We appreciate all of our Kingdompreneur Moment Live show listeners. This is just an awesome opportunity for you to unlock what's inside you as a confident woman to increase in four key elements: self-care, spiritual, professional, and business development, all from a biblical point of view. And so I am so excited for you to be here to get the key to unlock what's inside you as you gain clarity of your mission, message, and mandate to boldly proclaim your faith slap dab in the marketplace. And so I'm so excited today. We have Confident Woman Rise co-author, Miss Maryann, and she's coming all the way from Texas. So I'm going to bring her to the stage at this time. Hello, Miss Maryann. What's going on with you, girl?
Hello. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Well, where is your cowboy hat? I done told
no.
you. I done told you about this hat. Girl, you bet. Where them cowboy boots at? Girl, I want to see the boots. I want to see the hat. And Miss Maryann, you literally just moved and unpacked. That has been an issue in itself. Got a new job, became a co-author. I mean, you've got a lot going on and you're still here smiling, radiant, and confident. So introduce yourself to the world here on the Kingdompreneur Moment Live Show and to Confident Woman Incubator podcast listeners that are listening right now from all around the world.
Yes. So once again, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. So I am Maryann Rivera-Dannert, known as the Fearless Living Coach and Career Research Strategist, where my mission is to equip women with strategies to silence their insecurities, build healthy boundaries, and fearlessly pursue the life and career of their dreams. So as you stated, I recently moved to Austin, Texas. I came down here from Florida. And prior to living in Florida for a few years, I lived in upstate New York, which is the place that I still refer to as home.
Maryann, you know, I'm originally from Bronx, New York, right? So I was born in Lebanon, Bronx Lebanon Hospital, and my grandmother actually took care of me 5 years of my life. So I am a native New Yorker, and I don't have the accent anymore. You know, I'm a Southern girl at this point. And when you've been in the South as long as I have, the accent just totally vanishes. And so, but I did want to tell you that we have truly been divine connected. You know, every time we talk, we found out something new about ourselves that are so similar. And, you know, you are HR manager, guru, and I come from HR as well. My degree is in human resources. And so this is just another commonality. And we don't have the cowboy hats going on at this point, but we do have those commonalities. And so I welcome you, Maryann, as Confident Woman Rise co-author. Tell us about your experience as a Confident Woman Rise co-author. What's been going on with you from that aspect?
Yes, so as a co-author, I'm actually working on my 5th anthology, which the 5th one is with you, and Confident Women Rise, and it just has been a journey. My first project, which was back in 2016, it happened through my first business coach, and she put it out, and from there it just has, you know, I realized I have always loved writing, and I've always desired to have a solo book.
Yes.
But being part of the anthologies just, it takes the stress off of me because all I'm doing is writing a chapter. I'm not worrying about, you know, the editing, the marketing, the publishing. All I'm doing is just doing my part and handing it off. So it makes the process a little easier, but as with each project, it just has been pushing me more and more out of my comfort zone. And it's definitely something that's important because as we continue to get involved in projects, we should be seeing the growth And I can definitely see my growth and, as each project, has evolved.
Well, working with me as the visionary of Confident Women Rise, you probably have absolutely no box at this point because I burn boxes for a living. Miss Maryann, you have probably no box. If there is any residue of the box in sight, I will burn it. Make no mistake, because we are just getting started in this project. And so this has been amazing to work with you. And you're coming from corporate America. And what is so amazing about being the builder of Confident Woman Incubator, the actual program, is that we actually focus on those 4 key elements for women all around the world. And those 4 key elements to unlock what's inside you as a confident woman are increase of self-care, spiritual, professional, and business development. And so today we're really going to hone in on the professional development. So we're going to literally have a live coaching session for women all around the world. And you and I are going to help them with some tips on how they can rise in the boardroom, because confident women rise in the boardroom. And I was asking you backstage 3 top things that you feel like, since you've been in corporate America, that has helped you rise to your position, because you are currently in HR. But how long have you been in HR as a total?
10 years.
Okay.
Going on 11 years. 11 years.
Okay, so you have not remained in the same position. You have constantly continued to rise. So help the women that are watching from all around the world that are really focusing on their professional development today, how they can rise in the boardroom as a confident woman.
Yeah, so definitely the first thing that I will say is not to be afraid to step into the unknown. Oftentimes we are so comfortable and hungry for something better, but because we're safe in our current situation and the unknown scares us, we stay complacent, and we're not growing, we're not being challenged, and things of that nature. So my first HR position actually happened by just me taking a chance. I was the executive assistant to the then president, executive director of the organization. And I stepped into HR, just to help, organize, file, create job descriptions, the easy stuff in HR. And slowly it just like, well, give it to Maryann. She's the HR manager. She's the HR manager. I'm like, wait a minute. No, I'm not. So I broached the conversation, and I was promoted to become HR manager. And they actually even helped me. I was able to negotiate part of my salary with them helping me go back to school and get my bachelor's degree so I can get more training in HR. So from there, it just grew. And actually that first position was definitely a risk for several reasons. 1, I really didn't know much about human resources. And then 2, I was working for a Christian nonprofit organization, which meant that they did not accept government funding. So when it came time to, look at the budget, my position actually 3 years later was eliminated, because it was one of those positions that was created. And when it came to balance the budget, they went to HR. But it's an experience and it's an opportunity that I will never regret, because that allowed me to step into HR, which I always had a passion for. And from there, I have just continued to grow, step into different roles, step into different industries, because of that chance that I took on myself, and that the organization actually took on myself also.
So while you were talking, I really want to redirect the women that are watching, because today, like I said, we're honing in on those 4 key elements. Increase of self-care. You mentioned having confidence in yourself. We're also honing in on the other element, which is increase of self-care, increase of spiritual development. Obviously, we have to be rooted and grounded in faith in order to have a spiritual development, and making sure that we're increasing in that area. And then I also heard when you were talking, I'm weaving all this in for us as we are talking. So I want us to just keep in mind the 4 key elements of Confident Woman Incubator. And as Maryann is talking, ladies, I want you to get a clear picture of every key to unlock what's inside you. I don't want you to miss anything because she has a wealth of experience. And I, as a coach, as an international Kingdompreneur coach, coming from a biblical point of view, we're going to weave all of this in for you together so that you can maximize this opportunity and actually take these keys and immediately apply them and immediately unlock what's inside you. So far, Maryann has talked about having self-confidence, which is a part of having self-care. She also mentioned believing in herself. The fact that she believed in herself lets me know that she's rooted and grounded, spiritual development, having faith in God, having faith in herself and the God in her. Then she's talking about professional development. So let's stop there for a minute. Now, Maryann, you also mentioned about the power of the ask, because I call it the power of the ask in my training for Confident Woman Incubator. You talked about the ability to negotiate and not being afraid to say, okay, this is what I'm bringing to the table. You're asking me to do all this work, but I don't have the paper or the money to go inside with the extra work you're doing. So let's go ahead and negotiate. You want me to have this job. You see that I'm capable. You see all the transferable skills that I'm bringing to the table. But this is what I want you to do. I want you to send me to school. And that's called the power of the ask. We have not because we ask not. And I think that's a very critical thing, especially with women in corporate America and especially among women of color, because I know for me, it has been very difficult in my area where I live locally to break into the HR business because it has been a catch-22. Well, you are very experienced. You can do the work, but you don't have the paper. Oh, you have the paper, but you don't have the experience. It's been very difficult to actually have the power of the ask, saying, well, okay, you see that I'm capable, let's negotiate, and still get rejected. And I'm just being honest. We're talking about corporate America, and corporate America has many landscapes, and most of them are full of obstacles and landmines that all of us probably have had a nick with here and there. So Maryann, help the ladies. Let's break this down a little bit for them.
Definitely.
Help me break this down for them. You know, you're a woman of color, you're in corporate America, you don't have all the paper, but yet they see you're capable. What made that it wasn't a level of confidence. I think it was the people you were dealing with chose to give you an opportunity. Would you say that's a fair statement?
Yes, it's a combination of everything. So definitely I didn't have a full scope of HR experience, but in previous positions, and I think that this is something also that, you know, it's important for our listeners and our viewers to get a grasp of, is that just because you see, for example, HR, and I didn't have HR experience, does not mean that I did not have experience. In previous position, I have supervised, that's part of HR. I have delegated work, that's part of HR. I have created documents, that's part of HR. I've trained new people into, you know, stepping into different roles, that's also part of HR. So it's just being able to look at, you know, your resume, your past experience, and pulling out those key elements, partnering up with someone that can help you better frame those experiences so they can be more upfront and easily, you know, readable to the individual who's making the decisions.
So here again, I'm just going to be straight because that didn't happen for me. So, and there's a lot of women like that too. You know, we're doing the resume right. We're doing the interview right. We're going to school right. We're getting cum laude and ludali and mulali and everything else, all these honors and all this paper, and there's no money. I'm just, come on now. We're here on the Kingdompreneur Moment and Confident Woman Incubator podcast. Is listen, I'm going to be straight and tell the truth about Doreen. I felt extremely defeated. I felt like no matter what I did, I was jumping through every hoop and constantly getting rejected. I presented transferable skills. it was obvious that I was willing to do the work and could do the work because they wouldn't have interviewed me. I mean, I'm going up in the interview poll. And I think the landscape with COVID-19 has really changed things because employers are opening up their eyes to see, like, okay, these people don't need us. We need them. And it has totally changed the eyes of the employer. So I think now it may be different, but I'll never work for anybody else again. I'm going to work for myself because I know my value now. And I think then I was letting the employers and those that experience wound my spirit. It was very it felt very defeating. Like I just constantly was never good enough. So let's be honest, your situation was basically the favor of God. What I'm hearing is the employer had the common sense to know that, hello, this is a good worker and I'm going to choose to take a chance on her. That's basically what I'm hearing. Yes, you did all those things right, and we are to do those things right. But at the end of the day, it's the employer that has to say yes or no for us to move forward. So how would you address this real situation that millions of women are experiencing right now?
So I will say that it's important to understand why is it that you truly want to go into a certain field, a certain company, because there has been times that I have seen a job ad, for a company, they mention the salary, but then I do research on the company. I read the mission statement. I read, their values, and they don't align with mine. So for me, I don't waste my time. So it's important to know that for me, yes, my first opportunity as an HR manager happened because someone took an opportunity and a chance on me, and definitely was a favor of God. But that position lasted for 3 years. And after that, it hasn't been as easy as that first position. There's been times that I've, been in the runnings for, second, third interviews, and then you get that dreaded thank you, but email or letter in the mail.
Right.
There's several things. One is honest. It's being honest with yourself. Why do you truly want to be in a certain position? Why do you want to work for that company? Because oftentimes people think that, oh, the interviewer, they're taking they're interviewing me. But interviews go both ways. You should also be interviewing, the employer.
Yes.
Just because they might be paying you, $70,000, $80,000 does not mean that company, their beliefs match with yours. Because we all should have a mission statement for ourselves, for our personal lives, for where we want to go. And if those things don't align, you have to keep moving forward. And then also make sure that you partner up with someone that is already at the position that you envision yourself to be. So that you have a mentor and get guidance and prepare. And if it doesn't work out, don't look at it as a negative. It's kind of like, okay, there's the saying that says, it's God's protection, not
rejection.
His rejection. Yes. So, touch bases with your mentor. I was confident, I was, excited. I got to the second, third level, but then it didn't work out. And I have also been bold enough in the past that I have reached out to the decision maker or the second in command and have asked, is there any feedback that you can give me so I can prepare better for, the next opportunity?
Time. Right.
And sometimes, I have received the feedback. Sometimes they say, oh, it's just, this is a way that we decided to go. So sometimes you do get the information, sometimes you don't. But we have to be bold enough and courageous enough and confident enough in our abilities and just making that ask.
Yeah, and here again, Maryann, I appreciate your openness, and we're going to be really, really candid here today because that is why we do this show. This is why we are here on the Kingdompreneur Moment Live show, and we're really talking about confident women rising in the boardroom. So we have to deal with these very sensitive issues. These things are literally going on. It is a reality. It happened to me, and I'm just going to tell my story. So for 20 years, I was on a 20-year journey for my education. For 20 years, I kept failing. I kept dropping out. I kept for various reasons. I didn't have a car. I was a single mother. I had to walk to the. It was just. I was afraid of the math. I didn't know how to do the math. It was just terrible. It was horrible. It was just terrible, terrible, terrible. 20-year educational journey. So when I made up my decision to go to school, I already knew I wanted to be in HR. Why did I choose HR? Because I wanted to empower women specifically and people to get jobs. I knew how that felt when someone kept telling me no, no, no. And I wanted to be in position and condition to change that mantra, to change that perception that no one wants to give me a job. And keep in mind, this has been a long time ago. So that's why I chose HR. And so that is why I pursued it in college. So finally, after this 20-year educational journey and, just being broken in that way, and God using this to heal me as I'm getting all these papers and him helping me get in all these papers. And then when I graduate, and then knowing that my husband literally put me through school for all of this. And so now I've spent all this money and now I have all this education. And then now when I go to all these interviews, it's a no. It can be very devastating. So what I did end up doing, of course, is I started my own business. And what I realized in the course of starting my own business, I did get in contact with a career specialist, just like you. Her name is Ivy Ingram, and she lives in our area in Florence. And she worked with me and she began to challenge me. She began to challenge me just like what you're saying. She said, "How are you sure that HR is really what you want to do?" She began to really challenge me. And I kept coming up with, I want to help people. I want to help people get jobs. I want to help people. And I just kept coming up with, I want to help people. So now, these years later, that I am now an international Kingdompreneur coach, I understand why I needed all those experiences to be able to coach women around the world in these 4 key elements, which is why I built Confident Woman Incubator. If I didn't have those experiences and knowing how that felt and telling women, okay, we can take these same transitional skills and you can make your own money instead of begging somebody to pay you, I would not be able to be as successful as I am. I wouldn't be here sitting talking with you. But I wanted to share my story, Maryann, because, women rising in the boardroom is not easy.
Right.
It is not easy. And we're talking about, we're just here in America, not to mention internationally, not to mention on a global worldwide market, dealing with different countries, cultures, and all of these things that we're dealing with as women of color, as women from different backgrounds, as women, just all kinds of women from different places. And so I did want you to kind of highlight those things, but I agree with you. Having someone to challenge you to make sure that your why is really your why. Right. See, now I'm confident in what I do. I don't have to explain. I don't have any brokenness in me anymore. My spirit is not wounded. I'm free because I know that all of the experiences that's happened to get me to this place has made me a better coach. And I understand now when I work with women such as yourself, coming from that professional point of view, I can give added value to you because I can relate to what you're saying, like what you were saying about the power of the ask and all these different things. So, what's your feedback?
So definitely, I agree with everything that you said. And when it comes to the corporate world, one thing that I have learned over the years is that sometimes your education does not matter. Mm-hmm. Your experience does not matter. Mm-hmm. It's who is in your circle. Who
yes.
do you know that can get you that interview, who can get you that yes to being accepted. So that is one of the hard lessons that I have had to learn over the years. Mm-hmm. In my most recent employer, which if people know who I am, they know who the company was. One thing that I learned is that to advance in that particular, culture, it's all about who you know. Your experience does not really matter. Your education does not matter. It's all about who you know. And that's how you're going to get ahead in that particular company. And as you stated, that it's something that for me particularly, that it's a decision that I realized that I had to make, that was not where I wanted to stay. So when I moved to Austin, Texas, I moved with that company, but then quickly it was like, okay, this is done. I'm over. So I resigned from working in that company because of that, because it no longer aligned with my values, with my beliefs. And I'm not a person that just needs to be buddy with someone so I can get ahead. Either you're going to promote me and see me as a value based on my skills, my qualifications and experience, or we need to part ways. So that was a decision that I had to make. And I think it's important also for, our viewers to understand that in addition to making the ask, to being confident, we have to start, sometimes it's the soft skills that we have to work on. So, our listening skills, our negotiating skills, things like that are some of the skills that we also have to work on so we can get ahead. And as you stated, sometimes we have the education, we have the experience, but do we really need to be working for someone else, or are we being challenged and put into a position that we work for ourselves?
Wow. Thank you so much, Maryann. It's another confirmation. Because in that conversation with Ivory Ingram, I realized, because she kept challenging me. She said, well, you keep coming back to this because you're so unique. And we were going over all of, what makes me Doreen, that I don't fit into the mantra. They wanted me to fit in a certain mold. And I don't fit in, I burn boxes for a living. So I'm not going to get in a box just to get paid. That's insane. I'm not doing that. But just mentally wrapping my mind around that, because I was feeling very bad. I'm just being honest. My husband literally put me through school for a whole year. And I felt like, okay, this man has done all this. I need to show up and get the job, what he sent me to school for. And I was confused. I'm like, what in the world? And, I did not get it at that point. But I really appreciate the honesty of this conversation, because women, this stuff is real and it hurts when you know that you have worked and you are doing everything right. Like you said, you're working on, and we are a work in progress. You're not going to be 100%, and every employer is going to require something different of you. But as a whole, you know that you are working on your professional development. You know that you're studious in your craft. But what came to me was, in that moment, that's when I started rebranding my business. Okay. I got more clear. And as I continue getting more clear and more clear and more clear and laser focused, I am learning my craft more and more, and I'm becoming more confident even in what I do as a coach, which is why I built Confident Woman Incubator, because all of us, none of us have arrived. I don't care if you're a 7-figure earner. I don't care if you're a millionaire. I don't care what your price point is or what your position is. We have not stepped into glory yet. Therefore, we must continue to increase and make sure we're in position and condition to serve, regardless of where you are serving, in the C-suite, in the executive box, in HR, as a career, as a mother, as a speaker, as a consultant, as a coach. It does not matter. What matters is that we focus on increase of these 4 key elements: self-care, spiritual, professional, and business development. And of course, from a biblical point of view, because except the Lord build the house, it's built in vain. It's just that simple. And so with all of that being said, I do want to appreciate you for giving us all these tips today from the point of view of a professional development. Basically, we just had a class and teaching women how to rise in the boardroom. And you know what, Maryann, when you was talking, it's important for women such as yourself to trailblaze. And when you were talking, I thought about Erica W. Bishop. That's what she does. God has positioned her in I think it's a Fortune 500 company that she works for. He has positioned her in that company where she can bring other women to the table. And I think that's a beautiful thing. She is literally a trailblazer, and she brings other women to the table that she know is qualified, not just because she know them, but because they're qualified. And so my hats off to women that are in corporate America, and that's where you know you're called to be. It is a calling. You have to be graced to be in corporate America because it's so many different landscapes and so many different landmines and so many different issues that you're dealing with just to get to the table. And then when you're there, you have to stay there. That's another topic that we are not going to be able to cover today. But Maryann, what is the number one thing that you want the women to take away today?
Believe in yourself. Whether you get the yes, whether you get the no, whether you get the maybe, believe in yourself. As long as you believe in yourself, you cannot be shaken. As long as you are rooted in your beliefs and in your higher power, you will not be shaken. Whether you get that yes, especially when you get that no, you will not be shaken. So just continue to believe in yourself.
Right. And I just want to say too, while we're getting ready to close, Confident Woman Incubator, you can get your starter kit today, because a lot of the things that we're talking about is in your starter kit. Your starter kit is going to give you a webinar. It's going to give you workbooks. You'll get to spend 1 hour orientation with me. And it is just a phenomenal way for you to go ahead and get started with Confident Woman Incubator so that you can focus on these 4 key elements. It's a 1-year program, and it will literally give you the key to unlock what's inside you. So of course we have all the links there for you in the description. All you have to do is click, and that's it. You're there. You just click and register. It's very simple. We've made it very simple for you. And I want to give a special thank you for all the viewers of the Kingdompreneur Moment Live show and all of the listeners of Confident Woman Incubator podcast. Thank you for being here. Maryann, thank you for being here all the way from Texas. We appreciate you being Confident Woman Rise co-author and coming to us from this perspective, talking about professional development and really talking about the hard stuff, the stuff that's not comfortable. And you most don't hear this stuff, but it really is very important to discuss and be open about it so that other women can benefit. And of course, we have Miss Johanna D. Samuel, who is also a Confident Woman Rise co-author. She says, believe whether it's a yes or no. I believe this golden nuggets. And so we appreciate that. Yes, we've been giving golden nuggets, golden keys. We have Leslie Montgomery here. Thank you, ladies, who is also a Confident Woman Rise co-author. So we have all of these ladies here from all around the world, and we appreciate you so much. And so we want to get ready to say hashtag the Confident Woman. Go ahead and drop it in the comment. Go ahead and drop it. Go ahead and share, connect, and grow with us. Share this video on your platform. Comment, like, do what you got to do. Get in contact with me and get your starter kit today. Confident Woman Incubator starter kit today. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.